All right, y'all, Thursday afternoon, it is 2:30 p.m. I watch the feet here. Luis Morales, health fitness specialist with Exos at Autodesk here. This is the last live stretch break of the week. So if you guys were with us for that exercise with the Exos workout earlier, a lot of good lunging stuff, a lot of shoulders though. So we're basically going to be doing a lot of shoulders here in this regen session. So before we get started, feel free to go ahead and drop anything in the chat you feel needs a little bit of extra love, a little bit of extra stretching. We'll keep an eye on that as we go along. But what we're going to start out with, guys, is some hip stretching. And so we all need this one like we need air. So we're going to go ahead and start with the couch stretch. So as you can see, I do have a couch behind me, pretty convenient. If you have a desk chair, a footstool, a couch, whatever, something solid that you can kind of hook your foot onto, put it up against so you can kind of increase the amount of knee flexion we're getting for this stretch. That is going to be good. You can also do this one at the wall. Warning though, that one's pretty intense. So be careful with that one. Got a pad with the knee here. I'm going to go ahead and hook my foot, lay that knee down. And from here, my knee is pretty bent. We're stretching out a lot of these quads and also getting some stretch in the hip here. So what we want to do is engage the glute of that knee that's on the ground. And from here, you might already have a super intense stretch. If you're nice and upright, might be needing to lean forward, and that's all right. As long as we can kind of keep a straight line from the shoulder to the knee and squeeze that glute, that is the kind of stretch that we're going for. So in this position, once you kind of find a medium stretch, something that isn't crazy intense, something that isn't going to have you, making this kind of face the entire time, something you can comfortably breathe in, we're just going to continue to breathe, relax. As we sit all day at our desks or even stand, kind of these quad muscles and the front of the hip muscles, they get pretty short. And what we want to do over time is make sure that they don't get too short and that we eventually lose that range that we once had. So let's continue to breathe into the front of that hip. Squeezing that glute, might feel intense in the quad. Again, manage it for yourself. We want medium intensity, nothing crazy. All right, after that next exhale, we can slowly kind of come forward onto that front leg. Maybe you can pick yourself up all the way. Maybe you get up some other way. What we're going to do now is switch. So I got my right foot now hooked on to the couch, just resting there, knee is bent. Other leg is out here supporting. I'm going to go ahead and start squeezing the glute, pull that belly button in towards my spine, make sure those core muscles are on. Then we're just going to hang out. We're going to breathe into the front of the hip here, into those quad muscles that are getting stretched out. Solid stretch, just because we were doing a lot of various lunges earlier in that workout. Good job, guys. Tap that glute, make sure that hip is still engaged. The back of that hip is still engaged the whole time here. It's really easy to lose that contraction. So we want to make sure that it stays on the whole time, that we can control it, call on it any time that we need. All right, let's do one more big breath. Good, breathing right in the front of that hip. All right, slowly let's come out of that position. And then let's come all the way down onto hands and knees in our space here, guys. Do a little more shoulder work. Bring this down so y'all can see me. All right, so up next, what we're gonna do is get into activating a muscle kind of under the shoulders here, often overlooked. And we don't want it to be overlooked for too long because that can lead to shoulder injury as well. So down in this hands and knees position, hands are right under the shoulders. Shoulders are not up near the ears. We're kind of shrugging, or shouldn't say shrugging, pulling them down. And from here, what we'll do in this hands and knees position is we're going to keep those arms nice and locked out. We're going to keep those arms nice and locked out and kind of go up and down with the shoulder blades here. So it's a really subtle movement. Take a look at me for a moment before you try this out. What we're going to do, keeping the elbows locked, let yourself sink down towards the ground. And so on your back, your shoulder blades might poke up. They're going to slide together here. And then keeping the arms locked out, their shoulder blades are going to slide away and you're going to slightly push away from the ground. Now, don't push so much that you start to make a big dome with the back. We want to keep the spine relatively straight. Spine's not going to do any bending here. We're just sinking down, pinching the shoulder blades together, pushing away from the ground, bringing those shoulder blades away from each other. So let's start to kind of move through this kind of at your own pace. I recommend taking it slow if this is a new movement, or if it's something that you kind of haven't quite mastered yet. It takes a while to really hone in on the movement from this underarm muscle. We're just letting the shoulder blades pinch, relaxing in this position. Arms are still locked out like we got casts around those elbows. And then we're pushing away. Let's do a few more. So sinking down, pushing away, keeping the back flat. Arms are staying nice and straight here, guys. Shoulder blades just up towards the ceiling. And then shoulder blades away from each other. All right, last one. Let's sink down, shoulder blades poking up, pulling together, and then pushing away. Good work, you guys. All right, so from here, we're gonna stay in this hands and knees position. Now we're gonna get a little more bendy through that spine. So with the hands still planted, arms are still gonna stay straight. We're gonna do some cat camel, some cat cow, whatever you might know it as, if you're familiar with yoga. But all we're gonna start with is pushing away from the ground, letting our spine and back kind of round up, creating a big hill or a mountain out of our back, letting the head hang, pointing our tailbones down to the ground, and then slowly alternating into the opposite position. So bringing the head up to look straight ahead, creating a big valley out of the back, and then pointing that tailbone up towards the ceiling or sky. Now from here, we can slowly start to move through this back and forth at our own paces. Do what's kind of most comfortable for you, but we want to make sure that we're still breathing. I realize it might be kind of hard to breathe in some of these really flexed, really extended positions, and that's all right. Just try and do what's most comfortable. Try and keep it regular the best you can. Each time, let's try and get a little bit more bend into that spine if it's comfortable enough. So if it's still comfortable and we're pushing into kind of more of a stretch through those joints, cool. If you're starting to feel any pain or discomfort, definitely don't keep pushing too far. Stay comfortable, stay in a comfortable range. We're gonna do one more each way. So one more big hill, one more big mountain, let that head hang. Let's go the other way, one more big valley, bringing that head up, tailbone up. Good, and we'll meet back in the middle. Nicely done. Okay, let's go ahead and stand on all the way up. What we're gonna do next is a little bit of active shoulder work, just to make sure some of those shoulder muscles on the back of our shoulders kind of stay nice and healthy, stay nice and active throughout our day. These are muscles that we really don't want to injure or overlook over the years. So let's plant those feet about shoulder width apart. We're going to tighten up that tummy. We can pull that belly button in towards the spine. And we're going to start with our arms spread out, kind of nice T position here, elbows locked out. And we're going to keep the thumbs going up towards the ceiling here in our starting position. So check in with yourself real quick. Make sure you're not shrugging. Make sure that those shoulder blades are kind of down on the rib cage. And from here, what we're going to do is twist our arms in the socket. So let's pull those thumbs back so they're going to point at the wall behind us. Twist as far as you can in that direction. And then we're going to bring those thumbs up towards the ceiling. Let them rotate forward. So now the thumbs are pointed at the computer or the camera, wherever you're facing. And then we're going to rotate them down, see if we can point them all the way to the ground. There we go, you guys. All right, let's go all the way back. Taking it nice and slow. The name of the game here is control. How straight can you keep the arms? You got to avoid shrugging at all times. How does this feel for the shoulders? Keeping them up at shoulder level. Thumbs are rotating back up towards the ceiling, pointing forward now. Pointing all the way down towards the ground if we can manage. Again, no shrugging. All right, let's rotate all the way back one more time. Pointed forward, pointed up, pointed back. Elbows still locked out, and then let's bring those thumbs back up towards the ceiling one more time. Good, and this is, we're ending in the same position that we started with. You guys can slowly drop those arms, give those shoulders kind of a little bit of a shake. I can realize that we definitely probably got a little burn going in there. So what we're gonna do, last thing, is also address back of the shoulders here. What we're gonna do, this is more of a posture exercise. Pulling the shoulder blades back is gonna kind of undo a lot of that slouching, a lot of that kind of painful, flex position that we get into on the computer, sitting or standing at the desk all day. It doesn't matter. We always eventually end up necks pulled forward, shoulders away from each other. So let's get up nice and tall. Core is tight, belly button in towards the spine, arms relaxed down by our sides. And what we're going to practice is just pulling those shoulder blades back as far as we can. So from here, we want to make sure that we're not arching too much through the back and showing our chest off to the sun or the sky. We want to make sure that the chest stays where it's at and those shoulder blades just pinch back as far as they can. We should feel some squeeze in the mid back, and then we relax them. So just working on going back and then relaxing back into that neutral position, regular in the socket. So let's do about 10 of these. We're breathing all the way here. You also want to be conscious of any shrugging. We usually want to avoid that just because we're not using the right muscles. Good work, you guys. Check in with yourself. Make sure you're not tilting up. Make sure that head isn't, craning forward or looking up towards the sky. Try and make eye contact with something that is at eye level. We're just pulling those shoulder blades back for a second and then letting them relax forward. Great way to undo some of that ache we get after a long day at the computer. All right, wherever we're at, let's do two more solid ones. Hold for a second. Here we go, we're holding. Belly buttons in. All right, last one, here we go. Big pinch, hold, and relax. All right, I hope the back and the shoulders are kind of feeling all woken up. We're feeling some blood coursing through the body. All right, that is all the time I have left for the stretch break. As always, go ahead and check out SharePoint and Slack, everything. Exos, program services, classes, all that good stuff. Speaking of classes, we got one more live one today, and that is Abs and Core / Mobility at 4:30 p.m. Pacific today. I'm going to be teaching that one. Looking forward to it. And then we also have a couple classes tomorrow. Jazzy's at 7:30 in the morning, if I'm correct there, and then mine at noon. So go ahead and attend those. We're looking forward to those Friday classes. I have a feeling that those are mine and Jazzy's favorites. Hope everyone has a great rest of your day. Take care. We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks, Luis.
Good job, Jet. See you later.